One of the very first things you want to do when you get your new device is change your password. In order to change your password, you're going to hit Control Alt Delete on your computer keyboard, and you'll be given a screen that looks like this. You'll be prompted to change your password by clicking on Change a Password. After you do that, you'll be given a screen that looks like this, in which you'll enter your old password and a new password, and then confirm your new password. Just simply enter your old password. For this one, for the default, it's Study 2016. Enter your new password, and your new password has to have at least 3 of the 4 following categories: an uppercase letter, a lowercase letter, a number, or a special character such as a question mark or an exclamation point. Again, it has to have 3 of those 4 character categories, and it cannot have anything to do with your name, your first name, your last name, your middle name, nothing. One of the very first things that people ask me when it comes to this device is how can I update it or change it to my liking? Well, you're going to do that when you go into settings. You can do that one of 2 ways. The first way is if you go down into the Windows key and you're given the prompt down here that says settings. You can click there and that will take you straight to the settings. You can also go down here in the text bubble. If you click on the little text bubble and click on all settings, it will also take you to settings. So clicking on one of those takes me to a settings menu that looks like this. The first thing that people ask me is that when they're typing, they don't like that when their palm touches down on the touchpad, that it allows for taps on the touchpad. That means it clicks. So in order to change that, you go into the devices, into mouse and touchpad, and then from there, you can change the taps on the touchpad or however you want. If you enjoy scrolling, if you like the fact that you can use 2 fingers to pinch and zoom, all of those settings are in here. So some of the things that you need to do is go in and just think about how you like the computer and how you want it to work for you. The nice thing about these devices is you get to personalize them how you want them this year. So take some time and go through and look through the touchpad and see what you like and what you don't like, and you can always go back and change it later. Another big question that people have for me is how do I personalize my computer, i.e. how do I change my background? So in order to do that, we go down into settings, into the start menu. In settings, there's a personalization tab. We click on the personalization tab and we're able to check background, the colors, lock screen, the theme, and even some things about the start menu. If you want, go through, play around with it. Again, this is all on you. You can change it however you want to, and we actually encourage that you personalize it. That way you can tell which computer is yours if you get confused with someone else's. Depending on your preferences, you may have a question about why does my computer go to sleep so fast? Or why is it staying awake so long? Why is my battery draining so fast? So we want to go down into settings and we can change those. When we get into settings, we'll go into the System tab. In the System tab, we go down to Power and Sleep, and this is where we can change the screen settings. So on the battery power, it will turn off after 15 minutes. When it's plugged in, it will turn off after 30. On the sleep, if you want your computer to go to sleep and not use as much battery life, you can have it go to sleep after so long, or when it's plugged in, you can have it go to sleep after so long. You can always change those as well as some of the additional power settings. In the additional power settings, you can go in and change what happens when you close the lid or what the power button does. When it comes to efficiencies of computers, it all depends on how you have things set up, and it has to be set up to your liking or else you may get frustrated. A lot of people ask me, how do I change my default browser to Chrome? How do I change it to Edge? You may like Internet Explorer. You may be one of those old school people. In order to change that, you go into Windows and into Settings again. Once you get there, you will click on System. In the Systems tab, you're given a default apps. If you click on those, you're able to scroll all these apps. You can change your web browser, what player. You can also change your photo, your even maps. There are also different types of default apps that you can change. If you click on Set Defaults by App, it'll give you a list of apps that we have available. And then you can change things based on those apps. You can also choose the default apps by file type. So if you have a file type, if you want to open a PDF with Adobe, then you can change it in there as well. It's all about your preference. Lastly, some people don't like using a touchpad. That's fine. You can also use a Bluetooth mouse if you want to, or you can plug one in via USB. If you decide to buy a Bluetooth mouse, you can go down into your Windows and into Settings, and then in Settings, you click on Devices. From Devices, you can click on Bluetooth, and you can find something there that would be available to pair. You'd have to read the instructions in your manual about how to make the mouse available for pairing, but once you do that, it will show up in your list here. You'll click on the mouse and it will be paired to your computer.